One should be content, easy to support, with few duties, living lightly, controlled in senses, discreet, not impudent, unattached to families. So this line, as I told you with the story, this line, Uber just told me that, Bhikkhu, I deserve a free meal. So this thing popped up on my phone. All right. So we have these 16 ways to try to be, these 16 exhortations of the Buddha on how to live. And this was given to monastics, so some of these are pretty monastic-centric. So for instance, easy to support, right? Most people in life have to support themselves and often support others. Right? Some people are supported by others. And in that case, it is a good thing that you kind of make yourself a little bit easy to support, right? That's what monastics do. All right, one of the things I see in only having one meal a day is that I'm easier to support, especially these days is like, food's becoming harder to get and money and all this, more expensive and things like that. Much easier to support having only one meal a day. All right, so that's a thought. Yes, with few duties. Right? Most of us have lots of duties, especially if we have a full family with children. Even as a monastic, when I lived at Bhavana, I had way too many duties. I was not with few duties living lightly. That's like when I left Bhavana, I was like, that line, with few duties living lightly. That's how I want to live. At least until I start my own place. Then you have to kind of have a lot of duties. But still, for the next X amount of years, I want to live, this is the motto that I'm living by. With few duties, living lightly. That's how monks are supposed to live. That's how lay people can try to live as well, right? You can prioritize your duties. You can try to live as lightly as possible with not too many burdens, right? The more things you have, the more you have to maintain them. Right? These kind of things. This is the thing about it in this line of thinking. And so controlled in senses, that's it. We all can do that, right? We can try to not engage in hedonistic lifestyles, right? Controlling, not just running after whatever our senses are going after, right? Just because our senses are going after something, are getting excited something, doesn't mean that we have to get dragged along by it, right? Like if you're walking a dog and all of a sudden the dog just bolts and you go, right? We don't have, just because our senses are going, no, we're gonna stay here. We're gonna stay in our domain, as the Buddha says, right? Not get chased off into the domain of Mara, right? Discreet, not impudent, right? Being, again, this kind of goes along with the last one, of being obedient, gentle, humble, discreet. These are all good qualities, right? Not taken to an extreme, or not allowing yourself to be used by people to take advantage of that. But these are good qualities to develop. And unattached to families. Now, this is a thing that is really kind of monastic specific. So what this is going towards is that a monastic should not be overly attached to families that support them, right? Overly attached in that, in a couple different ways, like you actually become emotional towards them, overly attached in that you let your attachment to them kind of cloud your judgment, overly attached in terms of like you want to spend more time with them, these kind of things, right? Like that is something that in the West is a bit tougher for Westerners to kind of understand a little bit, that there is this kind of balance. It's, like really lay people and monastics are not supposed to be friends, at least not like in like the lay way of friends, right? Monastics are supposed to be separate in that regard. But of course, there's a being friends with the monastic is like being able to talk with them and be with them and maybe even support them and, go on, Bhante G talked about how he would go on hiking trips with with lay people and things like that. All that stuff is fine. It's just more about the attachment and knowing the separation, not kind of blurring that separation, which is important, right? But monks and lay people can do activities together, some activities, not all, obviously. We're not going to the movies together. We're not doing all these kind of things. But there's some activities that we do together, but we should make sure, like, monks are supposed to be very aware that they are living a different way of life, right? And that basically requires and assumes that there is a separation, right? So that's what this is to be not to, listen, I've understood the same thing. When people have been generous to me, it's kind of natural to like want to spend more time with them, want to be more open to them, these kind of things, right? It's not saying that you should just be like, whoever the heck you are, just, thanks for your donation, whatever. That's not how it's supposed to be, because in other places in the suttas and in the monastic rules, you see how you're supposed to have lots of gratitude, and not become kind of expecting. I expect good food. I expect good robes. I expect that the people will bow to me and all these things like that, right? So there's a balance there. You do kind of feel, though, that this goodwill towards somebody who's like, oh, thank you for supporting me, like, especially if they've gone out of their way to do so. But you can't let that kind of control you too much, right? That's what means by not unattached to families, right? You have gratitude towards them, and if they have problems, you listen to their problems and you can help them in a way that a monk can help. But you have to realize that you are a monk and you are supposed to be spending, you are supposed to kind of be aloof a little bit, and also a bit ascetic, kind of living off by yourself, or in the monastery, not there's rules about like spending too much time with families, or going to different families in the same day, or being at night with families and stuff like that. There's it's because people are people. And it's easy to just kind of talk to people and get attached in that way. So that's what this is meaning here, in this regard. So friends, I think we're good for MME for the morning. I wish you a very spiritually successful and peaceful day. You can keep these qualities in mind and see how you can develop these qualities in your own life, within the context of your, life. And I wish you well. Sukhi Hotu, may you be happy, practice well, and be well. Hopefully I'll see you tonight for Dhammapalooza, or tomorrow morning for the next morning monastery experience.